Welcome to the 2026 NHL Stanley Cup Playoffs, where legends are made and every shift counts. The stage is set for an all-out war between hungry contenders and fearless underdogs, each chasing hockey's ultimate prize. Every save, every goal, every hit carries the weight of an entire season. The intensity is unmatched, the drama is real, and the road to the Stanley Cup begins now.
The Florida Panthers versus the New York Rangers.
The Florida Panthers and the New York Rangers have met only twice in Stanley Cup playoff history, most recently in the 2024 Eastern Conference Final, where Florida advanced in 6 games before capturing their second straight Stanley Cup. Their first postseason clash came back in the 1997 Eastern Conference quarterfinals when the Rangers eliminated a young Florida team. Now, in the 2026 Stanley Cup playoffs, the Panthers enter as back-to-back champions, aiming for a historic three-peat and making their 7th straight playoff appearance. Both of their recent Cup wins came against the Edmonton Oilers, showcasing their consistency and playoff poise. The New York Rangers are returning to the playoffs after a one-year absence, bringing a deeper, faster lineup and a renewed sense of urgency, setting the stage for another high-stakes chapter in this growing playoff rivalry. In this Eastern Conference first-round matchup, my prediction is that the Florida Panthers will defeat the New York Rangers in 5 games, completing step 1 in their quest to defend their Stanley Cup title.
The Tampa Bay Lightning versus the Toronto Maple Leafs.
These two teams have met twice in their playoff history. Their most recent matchup came in the 2023 Eastern Conference first round, where Toronto defeated Tampa Bay in 6 games. The first meeting was in the 2022 first round, which the Lightning won, meaning both teams have taken one series apiece heading into this next chapter. The Tampa Bay Lightning are back in the playoffs for the 9th straight year, a remarkable stretch that includes 3 Stanley Cup Final appearances and 2 championships. However, they haven't advanced past the first round in each of their last 3 playoff runs, including last year's 5-game loss to the Florida Panthers. Meanwhile, the Toronto Maple Leafs are entering their 10th consecutive playoff appearance, but long-term success has remained elusive. Despite their offensive firepower, Toronto hasn't reached the conference final since 2002. Last season, they made it to the second round, before falling to the Florida Panthers in 7 games. My prediction for this first-round matchup is that it'll be a hard-fought series, but the Toronto Maple Leafs will come out on top. Their depth and structure should carry them through as they win it in 7 games and advance to the next round. But really quickly, I want to shout out today's sponsor, Underdog. If you love hockey and you like winning money, their pick'em game is the way to go. All you do is pick higher or lower on player stats, like goals, assists, shots on goal, or saves. And if your picks hit, you can win big. You can make entries with all NHL players, or even mix hockey with your other favorite sports. Underdog is available in over 30 states, including California, Florida, Texas, and even Canada. Getting started is easy. Play just $5, sign up with my code SPORTSTOGATOR, and you'll get $100 in bonus funds to use right away. So don't wait, use code SPORTSTOGATOR today. Grab that $100 bonus and start making your baseball picks. Now, let's get back to the video.
The Carolina Hurricanes versus the Ottawa Senators.
This playoff series marks the first ever playoff meeting between the Carolina Hurricanes and the Ottawa Senators. Carolina has dominated the regular season matchups and continues to hold the edge in the all-time series. The Hurricanes are making their 8th straight playoff appearance, showcasing their consistency under Rod Brind'Amour. Over that span, they've reached the conference semifinals 3 times, and last year fell to the Florida Panthers in the Eastern Conference Final. The Senators, meanwhile, are making back-to-back playoff appearances for the first time since 2013. Last season, they returned to the playoffs for the first time since 2017, but lost to the Toronto Maple Leafs in 6 games. This year, Ottawa's young core looks to prove they can compete with one of the East's most complete teams. In this first-round matchup, I've got the Carolina Hurricanes taking care of business against the Ottawa Senators. Their depth and playoff experience should be the difference as Carolina wins the series in 6 games and moves on to the second round.
The Washington Capitals versus the New Jersey Devils.
These two teams have met each other twice in the playoffs, most recently in the 1990 division semifinals, where Washington won in 6 games. Their first meeting was back in the 1988 division finals, making this their first playoff matchup in over 30 years. The Capitals are making their 3rd straight playoff appearance, and since 2007 to 2008, they've qualified in all but 2 seasons, a run that includes their 2018 Stanley Cup Championship. In their last appearance, they reached the second round before falling to the Carolina Hurricanes in 5 games. The Devils are making back-to-back playoff appearances for the first time since the late 2000s. After returning to the playoffs in 2024 to 2025, they'll look to build on that progress after losing to Carolina in 5 games last year. This time, they'll try to prove their young core is ready to take the next step. In this first-round matchup, I've got the Washington Capitals edging out the New Jersey Devils in a hard-fought battle. Their experience gives them the edge as Washington wins in 7 games and advances to the next round.
The Winnipeg Jets versus the St. Louis Blues.
This playoff series is a rematch of last year's first-round battle between the Winnipeg Jets and the St. Louis Blues, where Winnipeg came out on top in 7 games. It marks just the second ever playoff meeting between these two teams, with the first coming back in the 2018 to 2019 season. The Jets are back in the playoffs for the 4th straight year and have qualified in every single season since 2017 to 2018, except for one. Their deepest run in that span came during the 2018 Western Conference Final. Last year, they advanced to the second round before falling to the Dallas Stars in 6 games. Meanwhile, the Blues returned to the postseason for the 2nd straight year, marking their first back-to-back appearances since their 4-year streak from 2018 to 2022 seasons. In this first-round matchup, I expect a hard-fought series between these two teams, but I'm giving the edge to Winnipeg. The Jets' depth and balance should carry them through as they win it in 7 games.
The Colorado Avalanche versus the Dallas Stars.
These two teams have a rich playoff history, meeting 7 times overall, and this year marks another rematch of last season's 2025 Western Conference first round, where Dallas edged Colorado in 7 games. The Avalanche returned to the playoffs for the 9th straight year, a run highlighted by their 2022 Stanley Cup Championship. However, they've been eliminated in the first round twice in the past 3 seasons, including last year's series against the Stars. The Stars, meanwhile, continue to be one of the West's most consistent contenders. They're making their 4th straight playoff appearance and 6th in the last 7 years, reaching the conference final in each of the past 3 seasons. This will also mark the 3rd consecutive playoff meeting between Colorado and Dallas, and their 4th since 2020, adding another chapter to what's become one of the NHL's most compelling modern rivalries. I expect this to be one of the best matchups of the first round, but I'm giving the edge to the Colorado Avalanche. Their experience and high-end talent should prevail as they take the series in 7 games.
The Vegas Golden Knights versus the Vancouver Canucks.
These two teams have met only once in their playoff history, back in the 2020 Western Conference second round, where Vegas took the series in 7 games. Since entering the league, Vegas has been remarkably consistent, reaching the playoffs in 7 of their 8 seasons and making it 3 straight years heading into this one. Their deepest run came in the 2022 to 2023 season, when they captured their first Stanley Cup. But they've fallen short in each of the past 2 years, including a second-round loss to Edmonton in 5 games last spring. The Canucks, meanwhile, have struggled to find that same level of consistency. They're set to return to the playoffs after missing out last year, and if they do, it'll mark just their 3rd playoff appearance in the last decade. In both of their previous trips, they reached the second round, and now they'll look to finally break through against one of the West's elite franchises. In this first-round matchup, I expect a competitive series, but the Vegas Golden Knights' depth and playoff experience should prove too much for Vancouver. I've got Vegas taking the series in 6 games.
The Edmonton Oilers versus the Los Angeles Kings.
The Edmonton Oilers and the Los Angeles Kings have a long playoff history, meeting 11 times overall, including 4 straight series from 2022 through 2025. Their most recent matchup came last year when Edmonton eliminated Los Angeles in 6 games. The Oilers enter this postseason looking for redemption after back-to-back Stanley Cup Final losses, both to the Florida Panthers. They've now reached the playoffs in 7 straight seasons, proving they're built for sustained contention, but still searching for that final step. The Kings, meanwhile, are making their 5th consecutive playoff appearance, but they've fallen to Edmonton in each of the last 4 postseasons. Los Angeles hasn't advanced past the first round since their 2014 Stanley Cup Championship, and they'll once again be trying to overcome a team that's had their number for years. I expect this to be a hard-fought physical series, but in the end, the Edmonton Oilers' star power and playoff experience should make the difference. I've got Edmonton winning in 7 games to advance to the next round.
The Florida Panthers versus the Toronto Maple Leafs.
The Florida Panthers and the Toronto Maple Leafs have met twice in their playoff history, with their most recent matchup coming in the 2025 second round. Their first meeting was in the 2023 Eastern Conference semifinals, where Florida won the series in 5 games. So far, the Panthers hold the upper hand, winning both series with a combined 8-4 record over Toronto. This year marks yet another rematch between these two teams, adding another chapter to an increasingly heated playoff rivalry. In this Eastern Conference second round, I expect a hard-fought series, but the Florida Panthers championship experience should prevail. I've got Florida winning in 7 games to advance to the conference finals and continue their title defense.
The Carolina Hurricanes versus the Washington Capitals.
The Carolina Hurricanes and the Washington Capitals have met twice in their playoff history, with the most recent matchup coming in the 2025 Eastern Conference second round, where Carolina won in 5 games. Their first meeting came back in the 2019 first round, which the Hurricanes also took in 7 games. Overall, Carolina holds a perfect 2-0 series record and an 8-4 edge in total wins over Washington. The Hurricanes are aiming for their 3rd conference final appearance in 4 years, while the Capitals look to reach their first since capturing the 2018 Stanley Cup. My prediction for this second round matchup is another tight back-and-forth battle, but I've got the Carolina Hurricanes pulling it out in 7 games to advance to the conference finals, where they'll face the Florida Panthers.
The Winnipeg Jets versus the Colorado Avalanche.
The Winnipeg Jets and the Colorado Avalanche have met only once in playoff history, back in the 2024 Western Conference first round, where Colorado controlled the series and advanced in 5 games. The Jets are chasing their deepest playoff run since 2018, when they reached the Western Conference Final, still their best showing in franchise history. Meanwhile, the Avalanche are looking to return to that level of dominance that led them to the 2022 Stanley Cup Championship, as they aim for their first conference final appearance since that title run. In this Western Conference second round matchup, I'm predicting the Colorado Avalanche will take control early and close out the series in 6 games and will advance to the conference finals.
The Vegas Golden Knights versus the Edmonton Oilers.
The Vegas Golden Knights and the Edmonton Oilers have met each other twice in their playoff history, with both matchups coming in the second round. Their most recent meeting was in the 2025 Western Conference semifinal, where Edmonton won the series in 5 games. Their first clash came in 2023, when Vegas prevailed in 6 games on their way to a Stanley Cup championship. Each team has taken 1 series apiece, setting the stage for another high-stakes rematch. The Golden Knights are aiming for their first conference final appearance since their 2023 Cup run, while the Oilers look to reach the conference finals for a 3rd straight season, and the 4th time in the last 5 years. I expect this to be a great series, but I've got the Edmonton Oilers edging out the Vegas Golden Knights in 7 games to return to the conference finals, where they'll face the Colorado Avalanche.
The Florida Panthers versus the Carolina Hurricanes.
The Florida Panthers and the Carolina Hurricanes will meet once again in the Eastern Conference Final, with a trip to the Stanley Cup Final on the line. These teams have faced off twice before in the playoffs, both times in the conference finals. and Florida has dominated the series' history, winning 8 of 9 games and both matchups overall. Their most recent meeting came in 2025 when the Panthers eliminated the Hurricanes in 5 games. The Panthers are chasing their 4th straight Stanley Cup Final appearance and aiming for a 3rd consecutive championship, cementing one of the league's modern dynasties. Meanwhile, the Hurricanes look to break through for their first final appearance since 2006 as they make their 2nd straight trip to the conference finals. In this Eastern Conference Final, I'm predicting the Florida Panthers to take the series in 7 games, advancing to their 4th straight Stanley Cup Final and earning a shot at a 3rd consecutive championship.
The Colorado Avalanche versus the Edmonton Oilers.
The Colorado Avalanche and the Edmonton Oilers have met 3 times in their playoff history, with their most recent matchup coming in the 2022 Western Conference Final, where Colorado swept that series. Their first postseason meeting came back in the 1997 Western Conference semifinal. Overall, the Avalanche hold a 2-1 series lead and an 11-5 edge in total playoff wins over the Oilers. Colorado will be aiming for its first Stanley Cup Final appearance since 2022, while Edmonton looks for redemption after back-to-back final losses to the Florida Panthers and hopes to make its 3rd straight trip to the championship round. My prediction for this Western Conference Final is another tight, high-level battle, but I'm giving the edge to the Colorado Avalanche. They'll outlast Edmonton in 7 games to reach their first Stanley Cup Final since 2022.
In the Stanley Cup Finals, the Florida Panthers versus the Colorado Avalanche.
The Florida Panthers and the Colorado Avalanche have met once before in the Stanley Cup Final, back in 1996, when Colorado swept the series to capture the first championship in franchise history. Overall, the Avalanche have owned the all-time head-to-head record against Florida. This year, Colorado is chasing its 2nd Stanley Cup in 5 seasons and what would be its 4th overall. The Panthers, meanwhile, are seeking to make NHL history, going for their 3rd straight Stanley Cup title. If successful, they'd become just the 4th team ever to win 3 consecutive championships, a feat not accomplished since the New York Islanders dynasty of the early 1980s. My Stanley Cup Final prediction for 2026 is an outstanding matchup between a potential 3-peat champion and an elite Colorado Avalanche team. Both are stacked, but I'm taking the Florida Panthers to win their 3rd straight Stanley Cup, cementing their dynasty with a Game 7 victory.
So those are my Stanley Cup playoff predictions. Who do you think will win the Stanley Cup this year? Let me know and drop a comment. So if you're new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you never miss an update. And if you love sports, you found the right place. This channel is all about bringing you the latest and greatest sports content. And don't forget to share this video with more sports enthusiasts. For more content and much more, please click up here to dive into more videos. And thank you so much for watching. Your support is really appreciated. I'm Sportsegator, and I'll catch you guys next time. Until then, keep loving sports.